Whether you realize it or not, every time you type text to put on the screen, you're making a lot of decisions about a lot of different things, including your title's location, duration, orientation, and animation. You're also making determinations about their readability and relativity to the topic, and hopefully their usefulness to your viewers. At least you should be. In this episode, I'll share 5 tips for typing title text. Creating text for television is an art that some specialists make careers out of. Getting good at making title text takes time, and it doesn't hurt if you happen to have a little talent and some artistic ability. Still, there are some foundational font factors that all editors need to know. In the next few minutes, I'll identify a few things you need to think about every time you type a title. Along the way, I'll offer some tips and tricks to help you make good decisions about your titles so your productions will look and feel more professional. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's take 5. Number 1, location. Good graphics are like real estate. You need to pick the right location. As you design titles and graphics for your videos, it's essential that you edit with your viewers in mind, particularly the little box we call a TV that people will watch your shows on. You need to produce your programs knowing that what you see on your computer screen is not what your viewers will see on their TVs. Most televisions display an overscanned image, meaning the outer edges of your video will fall off the side of the typical TV screen. This is important to understand because some of the image that you see in your editing interface will actually be outside the visible area on most TVs. The part that will remain visible can be predicted to some degree. We call this the safe area. There are actually 2 safe areas you need to know about. The safe action area is about the inner 80% of the image. This is the amount of video that's likely to be seen on the screen. The safe title area is even smaller, only about the inner 60% of the screen. Most titling apps indicate these areas with a gray box or a guide of some kind. The outer box indicates the safe action area, and the inner box indicates the safe title area. Titles created outside the safe title area run the risk of falling outside the frame and getting chopped off when your video is played back on a TV. So be careful to stay inside the lines as you type your text. Okay, but where should your text go within that safe title area? Well, certain text positions have taken on different meanings because of common usage. Viewers have come to expect that fonts that are put in certain locations mean or identify certain things. These expected usages drive the rules of screen position for your text. Typically, the title or name of your show, or segment intro, goes in the center of the screen. Identification graphics, like those that indicate a person's name, a location, or credits that run over a show's open, typically go on the lower third. If you put your show title on the lower third, or put your IDs at the top of the screen, you break these unwritten rules of titling, and you run the risk of confusing your audience. You should also note that lower third text doesn't go right on the lower third line. Hopefully you remember the rule of thirds that we discussed in our shot composition episode. It says that if you lay a tic-tac-toe grid over your screen to divide it into horizontal and vertical thirds, you should position objects of interest along the third lines. But if you stand your lower third text on top of the lower third line, you'll find that it's too high in the frame and obscures too much of your video. Here's a trick I use. Instead of setting your lower third text on top of the lower third line, hang it off the bottom of the lower third line. You'll find that it fits the frame comfortably and still stays in the safe title area. Now that you've positioned your text, let's talk about timing. Number 2, duration. How long should a graphic stay on the screen? The question I'm asked most often about title text is how long it should stay on the screen. You don't want to leave your text up too long or take it out too soon. If your text is in and out too quickly, you frustrate the viewers who don't get a chance to finish reading it. If you leave it up too long, they'll say, "Enough already, we got it." So how long should it be on the screen? A lot of editors reference a 3-second rule, but in my book, a set time really isn't a good guideline. Some text can be read in 3 seconds, others take a little longer to look at. I typically leave graphics in long enough to be read through 3 times aloud. This gives slow readers and distracted viewers time to catch the comment. By the way, when it comes to identifying people on your programs, less can be more. For most productions, it's enough to identify your hosts or experts the first time they appear on screen for a significant length of time, not every time they appear. Number 3, orientation. Sometimes it's best to not play it straight. The default orientation for all titling programs is text that sits straight on the screen, but you're not limited to leaving it on the level. Sometimes you need your text to slide to the side a bit. Most of today's editing apps allow you to rotate your title text. Just click on the corner and give one of your words a little whirl. Whether you opt for a slight angle or to stand it on its side, a rotation of orientation can literally give you a new angle on the titles you create. Number 4, animation. If you get the notion, add some motion. There are several ways to get your text on and off the screen. Simply popping your titles in and out with cuts is abrupt and jarring. At the very least, you should use a quick dissolve to fade your text in and out. Sometimes a little more motion makes sense. This can be as easy or as complex as your abilities allow. I've found that a lot of times a transitional wipe like a slide or a push can do the trick, but other transition effects can look cheesy, so be careful. Go ahead and experiment with the effects in your editor to see which ones work well for moving text around the screen. Another option is to use your editing app's motion controls. These typically let you set keyframes for start and end positions, as well as scale or size changes. I often add interest to my titles by adding a slight grow or slide effect to my text. These can be done slowly to keep it soft and subtle, or fast for an extreme effect. Most After Effects users don't even mess with the editor's built-in effects controls. After Effects gives you a lot more control over animations, even letting you adjust the speed of the move over its duration to ease your text in and out. Personally, I make a habit of creating my multi-word titles as a series of individual elements, so I can bring each word in separately or move them independently, maybe sliding one word while scaling another. One of my new favorite ways to add appeal to my title text is to reveal it with a revealer. Digital Juice's revealers are designed to move on and off the screen to reveal your text, logo, or whatever. Just put your revealer on an upper track of your timeline, scale it to size, and position your title on a lower track. Then cut your title in where it will be obscured by the revealer, and watch the magic. Revealers are a fast, easy, and awesome way to bring text on and off the screen. Like positions, some motions have meanings too. Crawls, which move across the bottom of the screen from right to left, are typically used for emergency notifications or warnings from a broadcaster. Don't use these for quotes or on-screen IDs, please. Lower thirds typically slide in and out from the sides, and credits typically scroll from the bottom up, not the top down. Again, Hollywood and broadcasters have pre-programmed your viewers' brains, so it's wise to stick with the accepted and understood uses of certain movements. Number 5, key considerations. Every graphic you make can be gauged by these 2 guidelines. There are 2 broad considerations that you should take into account every time you start to type text: readability and relativity. Well, actually, relevance is a more accurate word, but that doesn't rhyme as well, and it's not as memorable for you students out there. So, readability, relativity. Readability is the gauge for judging your choice of font, style, treatments, colors, sizes, thicknesses, positions, everything related to your text. The overall goal is to present graphics that are clear and clean and communicate their message in a way that's easy for your viewers to absorb. The other key consideration is relativity, relevance. This is not related to the look of the design in any way, but to the why of your titles, the purpose of your titles. The purpose of title text in any production is to deliver additional information that can't be communicated with the camera. Think of your titles as a service to the viewer, telling them who's talking, why they're qualified as an expert, where the shot takes place or when it took place, to recap a long list of information like a list of items in a recipe, or to recap the points of a presentation. You can also use it to add emphasis to a quote or something that was said. There you go, 5 considerations for creating title text. Number 1, location. Number 2, duration. Number 3, orientation. Number 4, animation. And number 5, 2 key considerations. Just being aware that you're making these decisions can alone help you design, build, and position better titles. As you think about each title's location, duration, orientation, and animation, avoid the temptation to do things just because you can. Remember, the goal of your titles is to provide the viewer with supplemental information that can't be communicated with the camera. One more tip, check your spelling. There's nothing worse than a great-looking graphic that's got a typo in it.